All the machines in this arcade are homemade. There's something magical about all this. As a child, I found that making things that made people laugh was satisfying and seemed more point in doing that than making useful machines.
Take that!
I'm Tim Hunkin and I'm a cartoonist and engineer. I have two arcades, one on the coast on a pier and this one in central London called Novelty Automation. In total, I suppose I made about 50 machines. Not many people have that as their ambition in life, but yeah, it suits me. This is pet or meat. You spin the wheel and you find if the lamb ends up sitting with you on the sofa or being carved for dinner. It was a hobby that got out of control. This is auto frisk. You stand in front here, the gloves inflate, and then they pat you down. Britain's got a great history of satire, and I suppose I'm not really particularly political myself, but I think it's healthy for little people to poke fun at the rich and powerful. You fly this little drone round this Beverly Hills mansion and see all the stars inside, and you're a paparazzi. You have to try and take the photos to fill up the cover of the magazine.
You're all under arrest.
I get my ideas from lots of places. It's partly things happening in my life, partly things happening in the news, and partly from old arcade machines and mechanisms. This is Test Your Nerve. You have to put your hand inside the cage with the mad dog for as long as you dare. To do something like this, you have to enjoy the process of making things. I spend most of my life solving conventional engineering problems rather than thinking up the jokes. This is the chiropodist. You have to take off your shoe for this one. You put your foot in the treatment bay down the bottom, and it feels really weird. Seeing people enjoying using the machines keeps me at it, and also because they take money, it provides the income to let me keep at it. So to me it's a pretty perfect system. It sure beats working.
Good morning, sir.
I've never planned my career or anything about my life. It's just occasionally a sort of opportunity comes up and then I go for it.
去抓娃娃的时候，老板都是很不开心的。有一些老板的话，他们还会私底下请我吃饭，叫我不要再去他家抓娃娃了。我1年的时间里面抓了有15000只的娃娃。我叫陈志通，今年35岁，我是抓娃娃达人。娃娃机它有分2种，一种是你可以通过技巧抓出来的娃娃机，还有一种是被设定的娃娃机，就是你技术再好的话都抓不起来。这个时候脑袋里面是不会想别的事情，只是会想着怎么把娃娃抓出来，思考这个抓娃娃这个一个过程。抓娃娃有几个参数，第一个的话就是抓娃娃的这么一种抓力爪子的抓力要好；第二个的话就是爪子的它会旋转；第三个的话就是它娃娃的一个摆放，这些都是会决定一个娃娃能不能进洞的这么一种参数。抓娃娃的话，抓多了其实也是一个烦恼，因为娃娃太多了，然后堆的家里面都是的话，其实也是挺累赘的。我觉得说应该把这种可爱的东西捐献出去，献一点爱心。然后我在去年的时间里面有捐了大概有1000只的娃娃给那种聋哑学校的小朋友，然后他们也很开心，我自己也很高兴。
Remember Zoltar, the fortune teller from the movie Big? The mysterious machine turned a young boy's wish into reality. In real life, there are hundreds of Zoltars all over the country, and you can trace them all back to this guy.
My name is Olaf Stanton, and I make Zoltar.
Olaf runs Characters Unlimited, a company that makes animated talking characters. And one of those machines is the fortune teller.
The fortune teller is probably one of the oldest games there is. It's been around since the turn of the century.
Perhaps the most famous one is Zoltar. But just to be clear, they didn't make the one from the movie Big.
The Zoltar in the movie Big was basically a movie prop. It was never made to be a manufactured game. Our Zoltar has the talking.
Come let Zoltar tell you more.
And eye movement and head turning, and spits out a card at the end of the conversation and gives you some good words of advice.
Every Zoltar machine is custom made.
The first thing we do is get the cabinet started. Then we'll cast the head out of our latex material. We put the eyeballs in, we paint the head, then it goes to our wig department. Zoltar's goatee is put on, the teeth are put in, which are actually my teeth.
Wait, they're your teeth?
Yes, they're actually my teeth. I actually made a mold on my teeth, so every Zoltar you see out there has my teeth in them. And then we put all the components in that make the card come out and make it talk and give the different messages, and then Zoltar's ready to go. Although Zoltar's the star of our fortune teller line, he's not the only fortune teller that we make. We have Pappy, we have the old pirate.
And those fortunes? That's Olaf too.
We try to make all of our fortunes on the lighter side, good words of wisdom and advice. I think one of my favorite is sometimes it's better to say too little than to say too much and regret it later. There's a lot of good words of wisdom that come out of Zoltar. I think people just like to see something that they can relate to and say, oh yeah, how did you know that? That's so cool. It really does bring out the child in all of us to see your fortune on a card.
Well, unless of course you're talking about Tom Hanks in the movie Big, because he gets, well, you know, big.
In the 80s, when lots of people were playing arcade games like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Frogger, this is what they were playing in Soviet Russia.
Здесь порядка 50 различных видов советских игровых автоматов, большинство из которых работают.
That's Alexander. He runs the Museum of Soviet Arcade Machines in St. Petersburg, Russia.
Приходя в наш музей, посетитель получает горсть настоящих советских монет, с помощью которых автоматы запускались 25 лет назад. И вот это возвращение в 80-е происходит у нас с помощью тактильных ощущений и всего, что посетитель видит.
Unlike their Western counterparts, the games weren't just for fun.
С точки зрения разработчиков советских игровых автоматов были сделаны попытки сделать автоматы, которые не, скажем так, развлекают, а развивают.
Это тяжело и достаточно бессмысленно.
The point of the games was training for the Soviet army, building skills like reasoning, hand-eye coordination, and marksmanship.
С 1975 года в Советском Союзе начали выпускать игровые автоматы. Велосипед придумывать уже не нужно было, брали самые популярные автоматы, немного упрощали их из-за отставания в электронике, поэтому у советских игровых автоматов нет памяти на очки, нет соревнования с предыдущими игроками.
All the Soviet arcade games were built in military factories, using leftover parts from weapons, refrigerators, calculators, and other items.
То есть это точно такие же развлекательные, спортивные, какие-то стрелковые и военные автоматы, что и во всем мире, просто немножечко адаптированы к российским, советским реалиям.
But now, decades after the fall of the Soviet Union,
4-летний ребенок, 5-летний в нашем музее проводит время великолепно. Он не ассоциирует себя с Советским Союзом, ему просто интересно играть.
I'm Billy Mitchell, video game player of the century. I did the world's first perfect score on Pac-Man, 3,333,360. Ooh, it's exhausting to just say it. I began in the competitive world of pinball. It moved to Donkey Kong. But the greatest level of competition at the moment was Pac-Man. If I was going to be the best, I had to be the best at the game that was everywhere. So in 1999, I sent out a press release. I was as cocky as could be. They said, there's been 10 billion games played. How are you going to do it? I says, because I'm Billy Mitchell. You start off on the first board, but on board 21, that's where it reaches maximum difficulty. You have to navigate all the way to board 255, doing the same repetitive thing. You can't miss a dot, a prize, a blue man. You can't die once. You can't lose focus. You got to stay with it all the way there, 4 to 5 hours. You have to take a corner down to 1/60th of a second in order to create perfect timing. And keep your eye right here, right here. You have to do that over 29,000 times without making any mistakes and dying. You play 255 boards. On 256, there's enough memory left in the game for the left half of the board and not the right half. The right half is filled with computer garble, anything and everything that is not Pac-Man, different walls, different dots. That's what a perfect score is. The moment that score went up there, I thought, wow, I achieved perfection. You get to the end, there's nothing to do but die. There was nothing saying congratulations. There was nothing saying the end, game over. Nothing. The designer of Pac-Man, not only did he never think anyone would get to the end, he didn't know where the end was. He didn't know at what point the game would run out of memory. Everything to him is completely baffling. They never saw the split screen until I sent it to them. Masaya Nakamura, who's the godfather of video games. He crowned me Video Game Player of the Century for that and all the previous achievements. It doesn't get any higher than that.